What's up, guys? What's happening? Gino Ganello coming back at you here with the technical area. The first episode of the review show, as I mentioned last week in the Twitter and Facebook posts that I put out there. Splitting it up. Felt last week's episode was a bit long with the 25 minutes. Want to keep you guys interested. Want it to be quick for you guys to kind of get through it, get all the information you need, and get on with your week. So, going to kind of go about it this way where I do a review show at the beginning of the week, a preview show towards the end of the week, and we kind of go at it like that. Try and keep it 10 to 15 minutes long each show. And again, just split it up in a nice way so that you guys can watch it in a quick and easy manner and get on with your lives. So thanks for joining me once again. We're back here, and we had another great week in a Premier League soccer, and I think without further ado, let's not waste any time here. Let's get right into match week 2 here as we recap what happened over the weekend. Starting things off in London, where Arsenal took on Burnley. Nicolas Pepe did not start, but Dani Ceballos did, and boy did he make an impression. 2 assists on the day, along with plenty of other skill as Lacazette and Aubameyang score to lead Arsenal to a tough 2-1 victory to open the weekend. Liverpool took on Southampton later on Saturday as the Reds had a tough first half, capped by a Salah goal to keep everyone sane. Firmino would give some cushion to the lead in the 71st, but it was an Adrian howler that would be the talk of the game. It let the Saints back in, but they couldn't capitalize as this one ended 2-1. From one Merseyside club to another, Everton took on Watford at Goodison Park. There wasn't much to this one as a 10th minute Bernard goal would be the winner for the Toffees as they grab all 3 points for the first time this year. Next, we take it from the northwest to the southeast where Brighton took on West Ham. The Hammers would be the first to score but didn't pose much of a threat other than that. The Seagulls dominated from start to finish as Leandro Trossard fired in a stunning goal on his home debut, giving Brighton a 1-1 draw. 2 weeks by, and who's that at the top of the Golden Boot race? Teemu Pukki? That's right, the Finnish striker bagged a hattie to bring his goal total to 4 this year as Norwich battered Newcastle 3-1. Moving to another newly promoted side, Aston Villa opened up Villa Park for the first time this year as they took on Bournemouth. Unfortunately, a couple of goals in the first 12 minutes, including a penalty 2 minutes in, ruined the day as the Cherries took it 2-1. Final game on Saturday, Manchester City vs Tottenham. This one was exciting from start to the very, very end. VAR found City again, only difference, this call mattered. Video review ruled out a goal in stoppage time as it ended all square at 2 at the Etihad. Moving to Sunday, Sheffield United made its home return to the Premier League as they took on Crystal Palace. Wilfried Zaha started for the Eagles, but that really didn't help at all. Sheffield United put in a terrific performance, capped off by a John Lundstrom goal in the 47th for Sheffield's first win in the Premier League since 2007. From Sheffield to London, where Chelsea took on Leicester on Frank Lampard's home managerial debut. Chelsea got off to a hot start when Mason Mount slotted his first goal for Chelsea's first team, and they dominated for the first 20. But after that, Leicester started adding pressure. Wilfred Ndidi scored in the 67th minute. Leicester probably should have scored again, but this one ends 1-1 in one of the more exciting games of the weekend. Finally, we hit Monday, where Man United traveled to Wolves for another exciting early season match. The Red Devils were terrific in the first half, keeping Wolves on the back foot as Anthony Martial found the net for his 50th time in a United jersey. But the second half was a much different story. Wolves came out firing. Ruben Neves drilled one in from outside the box. Pogba missed the penalty, and Wolves earned a point in the final match of the week. All right, that's your recap of last week's Premier League matches. Just another exciting week of matches for us to watch and really take in. Starting on Saturday, Arsenal-Burnley started it off with a really good match. And then, of course, ending on Monday today, which is the day I'm recording, as Wolves took on Manchester United in a good one as well. Lots of goals, good defense in some areas as well. Terrific performances from some lesser teams and not as great performances from some better teams. So, obviously, teams still starting to feel it out and trying to figure it out as the weeks go by. But, let's take a look at what happened and what we can analyze this past week. And with that, I think we go right into the Champions League bound, analyzing some of the teams who played really, really well this weekend or overperformed in their matches. And I think the first one I want to mention, and this may just be because they picked up a win for the first time in 12 years, but Sheffield United, another great performance. Obviously, playing at home, a lot of excitement behind them coming back to the Premier League. Playing a team in Crystal Palace that isn't very good, but has a Wilfred Zaha, a player in Wilfred Zaha who's very, very talented and can change a game, as I mentioned last week. But they kept him in check, kept him at bay, and really put in a great performance defensively, keeping them out of the net, and eventually got the goal, which ended up being the winner in the 47th minute. Great stuff all around from them. Great to see them coming up and getting a point last week against Bournemouth at Bournemouth in a tough situation, then coming home and getting the win here against Crystal Palace. 4 points already in 2 games. Haven't played anybody too great, but still pretty good for them to start off the year. And I just think that they've done a really good job defensively, locking it down and being able to get goals where they can. They've got 4 points. They get 3 points this weekend. So first team there in the Champions League bound, Sheffield United. Moving on, we'll go to the Sunday match, Chelsea-Leicester, and I think Leicester really, really performed well in this one. Took them a little bit to get started. I'll give them that. Chelsea came out firing, came out on the front foot, really made a difference in the first 20 minutes there. Mason Mount getting his first ever Premier League goal in Chelsea uniform. But after that, Leicester really took over. Their midfield was very good. There were some times where I wish the midfield would have released the ball a little bit earlier. I think that could have gotten Leicester maybe another goal here or there. But really good job by them to kind of settle in after 20 minutes, a tough 20 minutes against a good Chelsea team at Stamford Bridge. Settled in, figured it out, got the goal in the 67th minute, and added so much pressure from then on out that they probably should have ended up with a winner. Really good performance from them. Again, for them as well. 2 really good weeks of performances against tough opponents. Great job by Leicester, and that's why they land as one of the teams here on the Champions League bound segment. Next, Brighton. Brighton's been a real surprise for me personally in the first 2 weeks here. Coming into the season, I'm not sure many people were very high on Brighton. It's hard to be. They didn't have a terrific season last year. You're wondering where some of the goals were going to come from. You're wondering how they were going to compete against, the other teams. And really, they've come out firing. They won 3-0 last week. Coming to this week, they go down 1-0 to West Ham, but fight back, get a goal. They dominated for large portions of this match. Really took advantage of some of the things that West Ham was putting out there, and just did a great job of, not teetering or falling off after, one, the VAR review that overturned their first goal, keeping that energy up, and then 2, after the West Ham goal. Leandro Trossard has been terrific for them so far. A goal in his home debut here in this one. He would looked fantastic this weekend. Would have had 2 if it wasn't for VAR. But they did make the right call on that one as Byrne, I believe it was offsides. But Brighton has been really a really good has been really good over the past 2 weeks, beating Watford 3-0 in Watford. While they have lost their first 2 games, I still think is a very good team, and we'll get into that as the weeks go by. But great job by Brighton, terrific job of getting the point here at home, and now they got 4 points. And I believe how everything's shaked out, they're up in 4th or 5th place right now. So probably fun for those Brighton fans out there, and good for them because they played really, really well in the first couple weeks. And then finally, I think this one is the most deserved, and we're going to get into this. It's hard choosing the Champions League bound and the relegation worthy because there's only, if you try and pick one from each game, there's only 10 games to really choose from. We got 7 slots here. So, we're looking at really good performances here. Teams that, even though another team may have played bad, still kept it up at a high level, played really well, and got a result that's probably even better than they could have if the other team was playing bad. And that's why I picked Norwich here. As we'll see later on, I have Newcastle in my relegation worthy. performances for the week. But let's focus on Norwich. Coming up after a tough 4-1 loss to Liverpool, gave up 4 goals in the first half, but since then, 1 goal in the second half against Liverpool, 3 goals here against 3 goals here against Newcastle. Only 1 goal conceded since that first half against Liverpool, and that was in the 93rd minute to John Joe Shelby here against Newcastle. So really good job. Teemu Pukki has been unbelievable for them. 4 goals already at the top of the Golden Boot race. He's looked exceptional. He's been obviously a key player for them. He was a key player for them last year in the championship. Just real good stuff from Norwich, attacking Newcastle, not letting them, really bully them around. Newcastle had a good performance last week against Arsenal, as we'll get into. And they still, Norwich came out, home debut in the Premier League for the first time in a few years. Great job by Norwich to come out firing, do a good job of getting out in the front foot. 32nd minute goal by Teemu Pukki, and that really set them off. They controlled the possession, had a ton of shots, and really, as I said in the recap, battered Newcastle. So that's your Champions League bound teams of the week. Sheffield United, Leicester City, Brighton, Norwich, all terrific performances. Great job to them. And it's nice to recognize some of those teams who may not be recognized near the top of the table, aren't the top 6, but had great performances this week. These guys certainly did, so congratulations to them on good performances, and we look forward to hopefully seeing them continue that as the weeks go by. Moving on to relegation worthy now. Again, we'll get right into it. Newcastle did not have a good performance this week, and while I mentioned Norwich played really well, Newcastle is not, let's say 3 goals, because I'm not even counting that John Joe Shelby garbage time goal in the 93rd minute. Let's say 3 goals better than Newcastle. There's no way that Norwich is that much better. This Newcastle team put in a great performance against Arsenal last week. Kept them at bay, allowed only 1 goal, didn't get a goal themselves, but still did a good job of defending. And then they come out and they give up 3 goals to Teemu Pukki. Not saying that Norwich didn't have a good week, but their offense at the same time, while they played really well, their offense isn't as good as 3 goals better than Newcastle. Newcastle's defense did not play well. They did not come out firing. They didn't get control of the possession. Didn't really do much really in any facet of the game. Let Norwich do what they wanted with the ball, and that was a problem, clearly, as they lost 3-1. Not a great performance by Newcastle, especially after a somewhat encouraging performance last week against Arsenal. Moving on, we'll go to the next team, and I don't want people to get mad at me here, but I'm putting Liverpool in here in the relegation worthy. Not because I think that they played terribly, terribly bad, and not because I think clearly they still got the win, but I think that a 2-1 win, even a 2-0 win, if you take away the howler against or the howler by Adrian, it's still not good enough against a Southampton team that's not that good. They've had no goals in the first game. Their only goal in this game was just an absolute disaster of a mistake by Adrian. They should have been better. Southampton got off a bunch of shots, similar in the shot category as Liverpool did. Obviously didn't do much with them, but still, Liverpool should have made more of their chances. They should have been better. And if you're a Liverpool fan watching this, you probably have to agree with me. They didn't get a goal until stoppage time in the first half, and then didn't get a goal again after that until the 71st minute. And again, this is a team that gave up 3 goals last weekend. And I forget who they played last week. Let me see if I can pull it up here. They gave 3 goals up last week to a Burnley team who's definitely not that good. So you would have thought that Liverpool would have came out scoring 4 goals against Norwich last game, but did not really impress me this much this week. They got the win, got the job done, and that's really all that matters. There's nothing, you should not look at this or look at me saying, talking about Liverpool like this and saying that they did not perform well, and think that I'm saying also that they didn't get the win, and even though they got the win, that's the most important thing. Getting the win is the most important thing. Getting the three points is the most important thing, and that's why we, that's all that matters to them, and that's why we're doing this relegation worthy Champions League bound stuff, because teams have bad weeks, and they'll get put in the relegation worthy teams of the week, but that doesn't mean that they were, or that's where they're going to fall all season. Liverpool got 3 points. That's all that mattered, but they didn't play well. And if you're a Liverpool fan, I'm sure you felt the same way. They could have done better. They could have put a few more goals in. Southampton's not very good, very vulnerable, and I would have liked to see more from them in this game. So that's why I have them in my relegation worthy teams of the week. And then finally, the last game of the week was one where I found my last team for relegation worthy teams of the week. Man United. Let's take away that first half. Let's take away that first half and look at the second half, because they did not do anything in the second half. Didn't really create any chances. Wolves had them on the back foot the entire second half. And I was disappointed by that, because, let's bring that first half back into it. They played so well over the first, let's say, they played well in the first half against Chelsea, played really well in the second half, really well in the first half here against Wolves, and it looked like they could have gotten 2-3 in the first half, and nothing transpired out of it. It was disappointing to see them not get that. Pogba missing the penalty, disappointing, but still, I would have put them in this category because they didn't play well in that second half. They were disappointing. Couldn't put the ball in the back of the net enough in the first half. And I said this in a tweet while the game was going on. All they had to show for it was one goal after that terrific first half, dominating a good team in Wolverhampton. At the Molineux. But some changes were made, and Wolves came out, and Man United just couldn't adjust. Subs were made too late by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it was a disappointing second half performance, and it kind of ruined the performance as a whole for me, and that's why I have United here as the last team in the relegation worthy teams of the week. So there you have it. Newcastle United, Liverpool, not putting in great performances for me, and that's why I have them where I have them. That's it for those segments. Let's take a quick look at the game of the week. I think we got to give this one notice, and it was going to be the game of the week coming in. Manchester City versus Tottenham. Fantastic game. Had really everything. Man City really dominated large parts of this game. 30 shots total over the course of the game. While Spurs only had 3 shots, 2 on target, and those were the 2 that they scored in. Man City dominated parts of this game, but Spurs stayed afloat, kept fighting back, back and forth. The 20th minute goal by Sterling, the 23rd minute goal by Lamela. Then City score again, and then in the second half, Lucas Moura comes on and scores a goal for himself, and then of course VAR to cap it all off at the end. A goal that probably was rightfully overturned, but at the same time, it was close. It was very, very, very close. Man City probably deserved to win with 30 shots, 10 on goal, controlling the possession, but. Nonetheless, it was exciting. It was a great match to watch. A lot of just great play all around. When you get these two teams together, it always seems to be exciting. And when you get Man City on the pitch, no matter who they're playing, it's always exciting because they can put in as many as they like. Just a great game all around, and I think that's why they deserve the game of the week honors for this week. Because if you look at all the other ones, I don't think anyone matches up to this one. I think this one was terrific, and that's why I have them here in this category for Game of the Week. So that's all we got for the recap episode here, guys. Thanks for joining me. As always, this is the first episode of the week. Again, we'll get another episode later in the week that is a preview for Week 3 as we head into that. But thanks for joining me, guys. Hope you guys continue to follow along. Hope you guys got a lot out of this. And if you didn't watch much of the Premier League, hopefully you got a good idea of what happened and can talk with people at the water cooler tomorrow at work. That's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys have a good one. Hope to see you guys following again next time for the preview show. But until then, we'll see you guys later. Peace.